Today, as you guys saw by the title and on the thumbnail, we will be talking about we'll be talking about Stephenie Meyer's Life and Death, Twilight Reimagined. I have so much to say and I needed to express my love for this book, so I wanted to kind of do a solo video for it. I feel like right now is the perfect time on my channel to do stuff like this because I don't get that many views anyway, so I can kind of just post what I want, and whoever wants to watch it will watch it. If not, then not. But I get to post it still talk about it, get it off my chest. So anyway, I want to do that. First, if you guys love talking about books, you love TBRs, you love book videos, I might eventually, I've said this a lot, I might eventually incorporate some TV show stuff, some movie stuff. I just haven't had I haven't had the right time, I don't feel like. If you like all of that good jazz, then definitely hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, just so I know. And if you have any recommendations, always comment them down below. I just redid my room a little bit, and I have a whole, my bookshelves are so freaking cute. And so, let me know. I need to stock them with some more books, so let me know. Anyway, let's just get started. I literally could talk about this book for hours and hours and hours because it literally is just my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Actually, at first, I was kind of anti this book. I was like, no, the original's so good. Why are we trying to reimagine it? Whatever the case was, I just didn't want to read it. And then I don't know why last year I ended up just buying it. I think it was when I was starting to get up into more books, and I was like, oh, let's just see what it is. I wanted to collect all of the Twilights. That's what it was. And so I was like, oh, let's get this one. So I bought this one, and I've already read it twice, which is maybe not be saying much to some people, but for me, I never reread books. I rarely reread them. I bought so many this past year that I don't have time to reread them. And so this is saying a lot. I almost read it for a third time, right after I finished it the second time, just because I was like, this is so good and I need to make sure my thoughts are clear and good and fresh for this video. So our spoilers ahead, just so you guys know. I'm not going to try to hold back or try to beat around the bush because I really want to say a lot of things. So if you're someone who wants to read it, but you want a fresh mind, you don't want to have any influence of it, or you don't want to know what's going to happen, then definitely go read it first before watching this video, but make sure you come back, add it to it, watch later, so you can watch it after you read. If you don't care, this book has been out for so long, so if you don't care, then obviously just keep watching. But anyway, so this is Life and Death, if you guys don't know. It was the 10th anniversary edition, so 10th anniversary of Twilight. She wrote this book, and honestly, I mean, I could kiss her for the genius of this. So it says, in celebration of the 2015 10th anniversary of Twilight comes Stephenie Meyer's Life and Death, a bold, compelling reimagining of the iconic love story that will surprise and enthrall readers. I don't know that word. So it says, Bella and Edward now get to know Beau and Edith. So, essentially, Beau is the human, who's the boy, and then Edith is the vampire, which is the girl. So if you're taking the story of Bella and Edward, Bella is the boy now, and Edward is the girl now. So, Edith is the vampire now, Beau is the human now. It's hard to explain. I feel like it's harder to explain than it is to understand. So I feel like you understand it, but I don't need to keep explaining it. Anyway, so Beau moves to Forks, the same kind of thing, essentially it's the same exact story of the first Twilight. The ending is obviously different because there's only one book of this. It's not the whole series. So I would have liked the whole series, but I don't mind because I like this ending a lot. I love this ending. And so, whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, Beau, he's still the same kind of concept. Stephenie Meyer decided to switch roles of certain characters, not all the characters, most of the characters I should say, just not the role of the mom-dad dynamic, which I think she really thought this through because it was kind of genius the way she did it. So Beau starts off living with his mom in Phoenix, same kind of thing, and then she marries Phil as well. So he's still, instead of the mother-daughter, I was gonna say girl-girl bond, that sounded wrong, the mother-daughter relationship that Bella and her mom has. It's a mama's boy kind of relationship. It's the son-mother kind of relationship. He really felt like, he was moving, the reason why he stayed with his mom and not with his dad in Forks in general, Forks in general, was just because he wanted to take care of his mom. He felt like he had that was his job, and his mom, and this book, I honestly don't remember it's more that much in the first book. I don't feel like she was like that though, but in this book they make it a point to, like, so that his mom's a little bit, she forgets everything. She's emailing him, like, even when he does move, like, where's this? You remember where this is? And that kind of stuff. So he was always cooking for them, for his mom, as well as his dad eventually, but first his mom, and like taking care of her essentially. And so that's why he felt like, he wanted to stay with his mom and that kind of thing. I really enjoyed that explanation, because not that I really thought about it during the Twilights that much, because you're really so focused on the Edward Bella relationship, but I feel like in this kind of book, because it's so short, and because a lot of it is like a not repeat, but a repeat, essentially. It's a repeat story. I feel like you want to know that information, and it's good to know, well, why did he just live with his dad in the first place? Because, and not that I'm saying boys should live with boys, but I'm saying, like, the father-son bond is just different, whereas the mother-daughter bond is different. So it made sense that Bella was with her mom, and just because, that bond is different. I have a different bond with both my parents, you know what I mean? So, anyway, I liked that they had that explanation. So, this video is 7 minutes long. I haven't even got started. So anyway, he ends up saying, like, Phil, again, is the same kind of thing. He's traveling, whatever. And his mom was unhappy staying at the house while he was going to school, while Beau was going to school. So Beau moved with his dad. His dad and him have a super cute relationship as well. I feel like it's just, they're like the same person. A lot of the things he'll say, like, yeah, I know my dad's the same way, like in his thoughts, Beau's thoughts, obviously. He'll say, like, I know my dad's the same way, or like, I know my dad would agree, or like, you'll find things, like, they'll both make the same face at the same time. Like, different things like that are so unique, because obviously it was a different relationship when it was Bella and her dad. It was a cute, obviously, daddy's girl kind of really, like, dynamic. Obviously, she wasn't like super daddy's girl. You know what I mean? I don't need to over-explain myself. Anyway, the different relationship was just super, super unique. Now, he gets to Forks, whatever, same kind of thing. He gets the new truck, which is cool. And then he gets to school. Now, all the characters that are in the school as well are flipped. So his best friend, the girl, ends up being, instead of, I don't remember their names, sorry, from the original. I'm horrible, I know. But anyway, Bella ends up meeting, a couple of the guys first, and then the girls or whatever. So then it's vice versa. So he meets some of the, whatever it is, it's vice versa. So he meets like some guy friend, some girlfriend, whatever. And the girl, obviously, he ends up being closer with the guys or whatever, but the girl ends up obviously liking him, like the same way the boy liked Bella, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm like trying to get over. So anyway, that's why she's changed those characters, because obviously one of them kind of has to really like the main characters, and it was kind of just easier that way, I'm assuming. So her name's Michaela. She ends up really liking Beau, whatever, of course, and then whatever. So then Edith, he's asking about the Cullens. Now, the Cullens are also all switched. So Jasper is a girl, which is Jessamine. I think Edward is something else. I mean, not Edward. Obviously, Edward's Edith. But, I mean, Emmett is something else. And then Rosalie is also changes to, like, a guy's name or whatever. Also turns into is a guy instead. And then Alice is, oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name? Okay, Emmett ends up being Eleanor, and then Rosalie is Royal, which is honestly funny. Obviously, that switched. I love me some Emmett. I love I love Emmett. I love Jasper. I love them all. I would have liked, either way, I would have liked it if they kept the original characters the same, and then just like had his relationship different between them. And then I would have liked it the other way too, like if he that she switched it, like I liked it both ways, honestly, because I love all the characters so much. But let me try to find where it was. She also did a funny thing too, which is it was interesting, but I guess it might have just been like, from feedback. Hold on, let me find this before I keep talking. Okay, so she did this interesting thing with the Cullens. She made them the Cullens and the Hales, and again, it must have been just feedback from the first one. I don't really know why necessarily she did it this way, because obviously they're all Cullens in the movie and in the first original book, but some of them are the Hales. I don't know if I said Hales or Hayes, I don't know. The Hales, and so they kind of split it up like that. So there are the Cullens, which is Edith and Eleanor. So it's the main girl, Edward, and Eleanor, which would be Emmett. Emmett and Edward are the Cullens in this. And then there's Jessamine and Royal Hale. So it would have been Jasper and Rosalie that are the Hales. And then there's old Archie Cullen, which is Alice. So the 3 Cullens, and then there's 2 Hales. Again, I don't know why they did it. I'm assuming just because it was kind of weird that they were all called Cullens and then they were all dating each other. So I think she kind of did it this way just so it made a little bit more sense. And maybe just so it was clearer to read, because it's a little bit harder to know who's who in your head, because they're not the same names. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's Archie. That's who Alice is. So again, he gets to the school, same kind of thing, you know, he sits next to Edith, and she's all like, and then she ditches for a few weeks, and he's like, bro, what the heck, like, do I smell? Like, the same scene kind of happens where he goes to the desk, and she's trying to change her schedule, and he's like, wow, like, she must really hate me. I don't know what I did, but she must really hate me. And then she leaves for a little bit, and then same kind of thing, she comes back. She's like that weird, like, hi, and he's like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so uncomfortable. It's so cute. I think, before I keep going, the thing that I really like, I think that really gets me, like, really has a hold on me, is just the fact that it's obviously it's kind of like a siren. I don't know if you know sirens. I don't know why they've just been coming up in my mind a lot, where, like, you know, the girl's, like, luring the boy in, and that's what it kind of felt like, where it was just, like, he was so obsessed with her, but, like, he knew he shouldn't be, and then he was like, she also hates me, so, like, this all sucks. But she was kind of just like, she, like, flashes her dimples, she has dimples, and, like, this beautiful smile, like, obviously she's perfect, she's a vampire, but you know what I mean, like, so there's just, like, this lure that kept pulling him in, and reading him describe it was just perfection. Like, it was very manly as well, if you will. It wasn't, like, sappy, or this, like, desperate, or, like, this, oh my gosh, like, you know, this dramatic kind of fascination. It was like this real, just genuine, kind of nonchalant, like, she's gorgeous, but she hates me kind of vibe, and I really, really like that. That's one thing about the original Twilights. Bella's just so dramatic, and you obviously have to live with it, but, like, she was so drama, and then Kristen Stewart took that drama to a whole nother level in the movies. So drama. Everything is, I can't deal with that. So that's why I appreciate this one, because it's not as drama, okay? Anyway, the other thing, what the heck was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, also, he is so super clumsy, just like Bella is in the original. So he's always falling all over the place, and it's actually really funny. It's like, to me, I think that's super cute. He's like not necessarily like a nerd, but he's like Bella without the drama. So he still, like, really likes to read. He likes to be by himself. He doesn't like the crowds. He doesn't go to the dance, like that kind of still kind of vibe, but without the and like and woe is me. It's not like that. You know? Okay, yeah, I was trying to think if there's anything different kind of like between that. There's not much different. Again, most of the conversations are the same as well. And again, to me at first I was like, oh, that's so stupid, but after reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I want a movie of this one. I want this series. I want a part 2 to this. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so good. Anyway, most of the conversations are the same. A few, obviously, words get changed here and there depending on it. Like the scene with the when they're looking at not the mouse, the telescope, what is it called? I was gonna say magnifying glass. When they're looking at whatever it is in science class, in biology or whatever, you know, she says ladies first, and he's like, sure, and then she takes it, you know what I mean? So it's like little things like that are a little different. Their relationship is a little bit more, to me, it's a little bit more comfortable, if you will. It's a little bit more natural. It didn't feel so like, hi, I love you. You know what I mean? I felt like there was a little bit more buildup in this, and I appreciate that again. I feel like obviously he was very like, dude, what's wrong with you? Are you bipolar? Like, you come in, you hate me, you come in, you love me, you come in like this, and he goes through those emotions, which again, I think Bella does in the book as well. But I just feel like it was a little bit more, it made a lot more sense in this one, if you will. It was just like, okay, it wasn't like, you hate me, but I love you. It wasn't like that. You didn't feel like that anyway. You felt like, okay, you felt like he was done. When he was done, you felt like he was done. And he was like, okay, well, I'm staying away from you. And then she was like, but I want to be your friend. Edith was like, but I want to talk to you. So she kept approaching him, which was super, super cute. So then again, same thing kind of happens. The truck happens where he gets hit. He almost gets hit. She was there with him, and he's asking her like, "Yo, what's up?" The other thing is that, oh, I forgot to say this. Carlisle is now Carlene or something like that, or Corinne or something like that. Esme is basically Esme is the boy, which is Everett or like something like that. I don't know. Anyway, the doctor is the girl. The wife, the Cullen mother. Basically, I love Carlisle, and so for me, I was just kind of like, I want you to be Carlisle, and I thought it would be cute too, just to see that. Kind of, there's this like there's a point where Bo is like in the hospital and he sees the Cullen mom. I don't remember her name, and I keep wanting to call her Esme, but anyway, the doctor mom vampire, and he's like, whoa, she's beautiful. And I'm like, you should be Carlisle, and you guys should be having like a bromance here. It shouldn't not be uncomfortable. But I guess it's like the same. But also Bella she doesn't say like Carlisle is beautiful in the first one or whatever. I feel like, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, my point is just that I thought it would have been cool to see like the dad kind of bond between Carlisle and Carlisle. But yeah, well, he would have been Carlisle, between Carlisle and Bo instead of the other way around. But anyway, it was fine. It was like a minor detail, but in my head, I just thought that as I read it. Same kind of thing. All of the events kind of happened. So instead of when oh, that was the other thing. Okay, sorry, let me go back. So eventually they try to be friends, whatever, they talk every now and then, they're super cute, whatever, when they go into school. And Edward, when Bo goes to La Push, to the beach, so there is a girl, it's just not a love interest. They portray her in this book as super, super young. Not super young, but young enough that it would be weird if her and Bo had a love interest. I can't remember her name either, like Jessie or something like that. Her name is Jules. They call her Julie, maybe is her full name, and they call her Jules, whatever. So it ends up being just kind of like she even mentions Jules like, yeah, you were friends with my older brothers, you guys used to mess around with me, whatever, they're in college now, whatever. So it's kind of, you kind of know already instantly that it's not a love interest. It's not like, oh, you know, like, is it going to be Edward, Jacob kind of vibe? It's not like that. You already know. But Jules is important because she's the one who eventually does tell Bo about, like, the Quillette tribe and, like, the werewolves and the vampires and that kind of thing. And so that's why she's important. But she wasn't, like, it wasn't, like, drama. It wasn't, like, a love interest. It was kind of just, like, okay, she's there. And she was kind of oblivious the whole time anyway because she thought the whole thing was a myth. And Bo's like, no, it's real. So then, same kind of thing. They end up going, he kind of has this, like, you know, thought here. He ends up going, like, he's like, oh my gosh, they're vampires. So then he ends up going to, they're going to see a movie. The boys are going to see a movie with Bo, and not in Seattle. Is it? I don't know. Maybe, I think it is Seattle. Duh. I think it is Seattle. Wherever they go, they end up going to see a movie far away, whatever. And so in this scene, normally Bella is, like, about to get, like, attacked by a bunch of men. And so this one, it was actually, they had a gun on him, and because they had run into each other in the beginning of the book, actually, like, kind of foreshadowing that, like, these people will be trouble, and they did. They came back, and they kind of were, like, about to jump him, and about to kill him, actually. They had, like, gun or whatever, and he was, like, so scared, and then, of course, Edith pulls up, and it's actually, like, I just love the concern he has for Edith, because obviously, like, sometimes, tell me, like, for me, I'm a very, like, if I'm like, my man, whatever, when I get married, that kind of thing, like, he's gonna be, like, my safe place, my protector, like, I want him to be that, like, the muscle, I want him to be that, like, I want to be, comfortable when I'm at home, that kind of thing. Like, obviously everyone has their own opinions nowadays, but that's how I want it to be. Like, I want to feel safe when I'm with him, and, like, I want to make sure I want him to walk on do the street rule, like, I want all those things. And so I feel like, obviously, when Bella was, like, concerned about Edward, I was just like, shut up sometimes. I'm like, bro, not only is he a vampire, but he's also a male vampire. So I'm like, not to say that, you know, you're not supposed to care about your man or whatever I'm saying, like, or expect them to do everything. I'm not saying all that. But what I'm saying is, like, for me, I'm worried about myself, and he needs to be worried about me. I don't have time to worry about you, too, if you're a vampire. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it just felt annoying, like, when Bella was just like, oh my gosh, like, are you gonna put on your seatbelt? I'm like, what? But when Bo does it for Edith, it's like super, super cute. And again, like everyone has their own opinions. You don't have to agree with that opinion. But for me, I felt like it was just super, super cute that he's like, put on your seatbelt. Like he was just like, no, don't go back there. They could shoot you. Like all these things. And even when he finds out she's a vampire, he's still like constantly worried about her. And I like that aspect to it because, again, that's what I would look for in a guy, someone who's worried about me constantly. And I'm not not that I wouldn't be worried, because I would be worried, but I feel like obviously you're a vampire, so like be worried about me. If that makes sense. I don't know, fast forward, again, everything kind of follows the same. He meets her parents, they meet each other's parents, the family likes them, that kind of thing. They don't go too deep into the family. You kind of hear the stories every now they get like thrown in there a little bit, which they're kind of, again, the same kind of story. Bear, Cliff, he has Edith had whatever, was dying of Spanish influenza or whatever she was dying from. Her parents were already dead, so that's when she was changed, etc., etc. And then we get to the baseball scene. The baseball scene, again, is pretty similar. Those three characters are also changed. So the Taylor is the is Laurent? It was not Taylor then. I don't know. Laurent ends up being a girl, or maybe it's just Lauren or something like that. Ends up being the girl, and then again, Victoria is Victor, so a boy, and then the James is like something with a J, but is a girl. So the girl ends up chasing Bo. This is where it starts to get changes, because there's not so many books after this. So Bo does the same freaking thing. They smell him at the baseball field. Edith is so scared, whatever. She's so heartbroken. She's like, dang, I shouldn't have done that. She's so sorry, basically. And so then they get in the car, whatever. They come up with the same kind of plan, where Bo just has to yell at his dad and tell him he doesn't want to live here and he doesn't want to be stuck here. And the pain that you feel in this is way different than in the actual Twilights. Maybe it's the pain because knowing the ending of this book is what really kills you. So anyway, knowing that there's no more after that should kill you enough to know that in the ending here, there's an ending that you're not gonna appreciate, you're not gonna love better than the ending of the original. But also, I mean, you might like it better, but I like it just as equally. But anyway, it was so horrible hearing him tell his dad that he didn't want to live there, that he didn't want to be stuck like his mom and all that stuff. It was horrible. It wasn't, I think the exact words were not the exact same that Bella said to her dad. I think though some of them were changed, so it wasn't too hard. I was waiting for him to say, I don't want to be stuck here like mom, but I don't think he said that. I think he's just said like, I don't want to live in the rain or something like that. It just made it took a little bit of the edge off, but it still broke my heart because his dad like had to think about what his dad must have been feeling. Horrible. So anyway, they drive and he gets his stuff, whatever. They end up leaving each other. Obviously, it's so horrible. He ends up going with Jessamine and Archie. He's telling Archie, which is so cool again, because you know the Alice-Bella relationship is super fun. It's a big part in the Twilights. I feel like this Archie Bo kind of relationship is obviously the same. It's like the replica of that. And so they're bromancing it out. He's like, we're gonna be best friends, dude. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna be best friends, dude. And so that was really cute. But obviously he's worried about Edith and they're looking for the tracker or whatever. Same kind of thing. The tracker goes to his house, lures him into the studio. He gets into the studio. Now we're in the freaking studio. And the whole thing happens. He's recording it, trying to get him to say whatever. She breaks his leg. She breaks his bone in his body. He's in so much pain. And she bites him. And then they get there. And spoiler alert, if you've made it this far, you don't care about the spoilers. I'm spoiling the ending. So stop now if you did not listen to my first warning. Spoiler alert. They say they're too late. So it's not gonna, no matter what, if Edith tries to suck out the venom, ends up killing him, or Edith lets him change. So it's only two options. And Edith does give him the choice. She's like, do you want to be a vampire? Like, is this what you want, or do you want to die? And he obviously says he wants to live with, he's like, I only want you. He's telling Edith, I want you. I just only want you. It is so freaking cute. So she lets him change. This is the unique perspective that we didn't get before. the movie illustration of the transformation obviously was very pleasant. Bella didn't even scream, didn't even move. It was just a weird day, a weird way, because she obviously was having a baby. Like, it was just very weird. But she didn't even, like, you just saw, like, the insides of her. She wasn't screaming. In this, screaming. At first he's screaming in pain. He's begging them to make it stop. He's like, just kill me instead. He's saying, like, all this stuff he, like, can't see. He's like, it's dark. I don't know who's here. Like, I can see you, but I can't see you. What's happening? Everything's burning. He said it's, like, feels like he's on fire. Like, you get such a good description of this. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, could you imagine, like, that transformation? Like, it's not pleasant. Like, not only you were just about to die. It's like, die, or, like, die forever, or, like, die in this moment because you feel like you're dying is, well, like, how he described it. And so it's super, super cute. They're like carrying, like, Edith is like carrying him. She like stayed with him the whole time, telling him stories, like talking to him. And you can hear, like, she just like is saying, like, you can't hear in my head. This is how I hear. But anyway, she would like say to him, like, I'm so sorry, like, I shouldn't have done blah, blah, blah. I should have. And then Archie, like, the Alice guy, Archie's just kind of like, dude, like, call Edith, like, tell him the real stuff, like, what he needs to know, blah, blah, blah. So she's explaining, like, you're gonna be thirsty, like, all this stuff, as he's, like, just sitting here. And then you can hear him, he's like, I couldn't find her, so I got scared again. And then she's like, I'm here. And you're like, so cute. And then they get home, and this is when a bunch of the other stories happen. Some of them, they're like, oh, explain this one, whatever, explain. They all telling him his story, their stories, that kind of stuff, all similar things, all the same things. And then he wakes up. So this is where it's just a heartbreaker. So he wakes up and they say, like, you can't see your family anymore. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. And it's so depressing because you're like, no way. Like, Bella got to have a little bit of closure with her dad where she was just kind of like, yo, dad, sorry, or like she ends up living with him, so they end up getting over this. Beau never had that. He never got to say, dad, like, I'm sorry, and that to me was what killed me, because I'm like, no, like, that was your last words to him. And then the thing is that you get to see the outcome of it. Like, if Beau just died, you know, he would never see what became of his dad, or like whatever. He'll never be able to feel that regret because he's be dead. You know what I'm saying? But in this, he can see and feel the regret and feel the pain, and I hate that for him. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, that is so awful, but also, like, I love that you and Edith got to live together. Like, I would prefer you become a vampire than die, but also that's horrible that you had to say all those things and you couldn't even say, dad, I'm sorry. You know, and so it's horrible. I mean, maybe she should have, I don't know. Never mind. Anyway, so they do have to fake his death. They end up faking his death, and then Beau and Edith actually end up, like, from a distance, obviously, vampire style, in a tree. They end up going to the funeral, seeing the parents, and just seeing so much. It's just horrible. You're heartbroken for his dad mainly, but also obviously for his parents. And it's just such a bittersweet ending, because you love that he's a vampire and you love their relationship. You love that him and Edith get to live together forever. You love that, but you also are like, your parents. And again, they always say, like, eventually, you know, you'll outlive your parents and then whatever. So it's fine. Like, not it's fine, but you'll start to, you won't feel it as much anymore. And so I appreciate that comfort. The last kind of scenes are really interesting. It's a guy, switch, I don't remember, Jacob's dad though is ends up being Jules' mom, and she's in the wheelchair, the same kind of thing, but she doesn't die. She ends up, like, she tells the werewolves, like, they broke the treaty, that the vampires broke the treaty and that they need to get the heck out of there or they're gonna beat them, whatever, because they think that they killed Beau. And then Beau's like, no, I'm right here, sister. And so they end up talking, whatever. She's like, no, I'm here. Like, it wasn't even them who bit me. It was the other girl that's dead now, whatever, the whole nine. And so they end up talking, or whatever. And so she's like, you know, sad about it. He's like, please take care of my dad. Wow. Please, because he tells her, please take care of my dad, that kind of stuff. She's like, I would have done it anyway. And just, it's so, like, depressing. You're just like, oh. But anyway, so then they get to live, and they're like, we'll only be here for, like, the rest of the year so they can finish out school, and then we'll move on with our lives. And then, yeah, they say, like, Edith, like, their excuse is that Edith is so, like, heartbroken she couldn't go to the funeral. She's so heartbroken she's not going back to school, but the rest of them are going to go back to school, finish out the year, and blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, it ends, like, I really like this ending because obviously it's an ending we didn't get to see, and I appreciate that. Obviously this book couldn't have been, she could have made it 4 series, but I doubt she would have wanted to, because that's so hard just to keep up the whole, like, opposite kind of thing. That's a lot of work. It was even a lot of work just explaining it, but the only other thing I forgot to mention too was the scene at the meadow is actually super, super cute as well. It's kind of similar, but obviously it's just a little different. Like, I feel like, you know, when Edward is like trying, like when he's like trying to listen to Bella's heart and like to kind of get used to her scent and that kind of thing, it's cute in one way, but it's so much cuter to me, in my opinion, in the way when Edith is trying to listen to like Beau, like she's like trying to like listen to his heart, like get a vibe on his scent, like just kind of get comfortable with him, and I really love that. I like when their first kiss was so cute. They still do the scene where Edith kisses Beau, and then he like goes ham, and she's like, dude, and then he goes, there's another scene in the kitchen where she kisses him again, and he holds his breath and he almost passes out, and she's like, what, you're gonna be the death of me. She's like, what am I going to do with you? I kiss you and you attack me, and then now I kiss you and you pass out. Like, what are we gonna do? What is the point of this? Like, what are we doing right now? And so it's super, super cute. But the only gripe I have is, like, I don't know how else she could have made it better. I mean, it's just like, it's uncomfortable in my head. I don't know how, because I'm picturing it, but it might not be uncomfortable to everyone. But since Edith's obviously the vampire, when she goes to like run really fast, he goes on her back, because obviously she's not gonna get on his back, and so he goes on her back. And I'm like just picturing this big man on this little girl, just like is, I don't know, so unattractive, so like uncomfortable to me. I'm like, what the heck? But I guess there's no other way to do it. And so I'm like, I don't know. But like obviously all the vampires, like every time someone's lifting up Bella, it's a lot different because they could just like bridal style carry her. And I'm sure she could have bridal style carried him, but like that would have been way weirder than like getting on his back. There's also a scene where like the boys are fireman carrying him, and I'm like, what the heck is happening? Because I guess again, you wouldn't bridal style and you wouldn't get it. Just I'm like, this is way worse. Like, just grab his arm and just go. Like, just, you're strong enough. You could probably pick him up by the arm and he'll be fine. Anyway, that was it. I feel like that's everything. I think there's just, she writes with such, she writes so perfectly. I just love Stephenie Meyer. There's one more book I didn't know she had that I'm gonna buy so I can read that one. It's not Twilight's though. I have all the other Twilights, and they're all just so, again, written so well that you just feel for the characters, you feel with the characters, you want to be in this world, and I appreciate that so much. I love that. I think her writing too, you can tell the characters, the words that they say are so on brand with their characters. The characters are fully developed. Nothing is out of place as far as like a line that they say or like something that doesn't make sense. Everything is just perfectly placed and perfectly thought out. I love that. I think Edith, she even has some lines where she's very like proper, prim and proper, and it's just, is so good because it makes sense because that's how she was. She's a vampire. She's lived forever. She was talking one way back then. Now she has to change how she talks and like that kind of thing. Like, so, you know, you also don't have to, there's certain things that are just so perfectly written that I just appreciate, and she kept true to this book as well. Her lines, everything about them are so good. Like the way they communicate with each other is so perfect. I want to read this book again. And everything about it is just absolute perfection, and I feel like I don't have that much else to say. Yeah, that's it. I 10 out of 10 recommend. I think you should read it. Let me know if you have any questions down below, because I don't know what I'm missing. Would I prefer it to the regular Twilight? I don't necessarily would say, I don't know if I would prefer it. I obviously like this is one book, so I could just find the whole story in one book and then I'm good. I don't have to read all 5 or 4 or whatever. And I don't have to read the second Twilight ever because if I read this one, you know what I mean? Because that one's horrible. But I do like the original story. I wish they could make a movie of this one as well, because that would be so cute. But I wouldn't say prefer it. I just love them equally. I would say I like the endings equally. I like the characters equally. I love them all. So I think that's everything, guys. I know this video is a long one. I was like, oh, this will be just a quick video, but I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much to say, so I have to say it all. That is it, nerds. I will see you in my next one. Peace out, nerds.